Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
I have 5 years and 5 months of experience working in Kronos. As a developer, I have developed multiple things in implementation, integration, and other building blocks. 3 years I worked with PCA, Starter Consultancy Services, which is one of the India's best IT company. Then I switched to Accenture, which is Ireland-based company, but I'm still working in India. Now I'm solving the notice period. Maybe next month I will be going to another organization. Just serving my notice period. And if you talk about different modules over there in Kronos, you might have heard about time and attendance scheduling, advanced scheduling, forecasting. If you talk about the central, there would be RIM, WDM, but if you talk about the dimension, it's almost the same. We have the time and attendance module, advanced scheduling, forecasting, and then attestation is also over there. There are multiple modules. And I have walked apart from that attestation. I walked on other models. The modules which I haven't walked, I didn't got a chance because it's not being yet transferred to my current team. These are attestation, a leave of absence attendance. These are the few pre-models which I haven't walked. And you might have got the trim details. We will be going through that now. Under the dimension, there are 2 tracks. The implementation and integration. I have completed both and I have worked on both of them. If you talk about the implementation and under the implementation, it comes like creating the pay policies, taking care of employment on direct was the scheduling, advanced scheduling, and the common set of the system setting their access profile. All those things, whichever we've developed or whichever we configure into the system setup, that is all about that implementation track. And if you talk about the integration track, it's purely on the integration side. You might know about the integration that it's a way of transferring data or from the Kronos to another application or getting the data from another application to Kronos. That's the integration. Now, in dimension for integration. Previously for the central, it was VM which comes with the central, but now with the newer version, we call it as VFM, that now a WFM Pro. The name got changed few months back. Now the WFM Pro known as Dimension, it uses Delboom. In order to create the integration. Now what is Delboomi? Delboomi is an application, another application which is used to create the integrations. Previously, we were using VMbox Source Integration Manager. Now what we are using? We are using Delboomi. Now there are certain things which gives add-on advantage when we use the. We are Delboomi instead of Vim. There are few restrictions over the VM, like we can create certain things, and it's very difficult for someone who comes and directly start learning the VM integration. And along with that, that person needs to be good with the database and with the SQL. In our central, somewhat, these two are the basic things you need to know whenever you go with the well descent. But in dimension, whenever we go with the del boomi, it's the shapes we need to remember. There would be a shape for DC making the decision where needs to be. If it's a true, go to that part of it. The false, go to that part. There would be connections which is used to make the connections between your Kronos to the DB to a different application. Those connection is required. Connection details is required. And then it's a drag and drop. You can drag the shapes, put it over there, make the connections, use the logic over there. It's a kind of easiest way to understand those things. That's why they implemented with del boomi and del boomi. Previously, it was known as del boomi. Now it's boomi only because the venture will be done. Del is completed. Now they have their own separate one, which is known as now boomi. And it's free to learn the boomi. And in terms of integration, I will give you an overview how we check the results, how we run the integrations. And from our application, how we go to the respective associated del boomi. These few things, I will give you a tool that once you learn the del boomi, you would be able to connect those things or remember or relays. Just to give you a glimpse, the label levels which we are using in central. And along with that, we have organization map. Now it's a business structure and labor levels are somewhat different. It's now known as labor category with some add-on limitation, add-on layer of configuration. The work could be almost similar for that, labor categories and labor level. And what I would do with the organization maps, the same, almost same thing as some of the business structure. But they have changed few things. The way we create those things is different. Other than that, you might know that at organization mapping used to do the scheduling. The employer exactly in is to go, in is to start the working. What would be the actual job of that person? Same kind of things is done by business. And it's again, the organization map is going to hierarchy. Business structure is again the hierarchy. It's pretty much almost same. You most 3 things to the different things. First one, as you said, it's the business structure, which gets organization map. This change to business structure and labor levels will change to labor categories. The next thing, the employee group. Previously, if you have configured, you might remember that whenever we create the organization set over there, we can directly create an employee group kind of thing where we restrict the managers to look into their employees. And we cannot mix match the labor levels along with that employer. Those two things separately been assigned into the manager's profile. Correct. Now what they have done in Dimension, they have created an add-on layer or add-on blocks. Name as employee group. Then we use that structure, the org set. Whether it's a manager job transfer set or the job transfer set or manager organization set or job, or you can have been set these two things over there. We use manager organization set. And along with that, we can give a restriction of labor categories. That's the one thing. It's an add-on thing. The third or second or third option, change there over there. Now, with a single assignment of employee group, We can restrict the managers with their whatever the employee they see or whatever employee is working on at particular jobs they can see. Along with that, we can restrict with the labor categories. That's the second under the business structure. If you talk about the equals, it's almost same. But only a small change is there. Previously, you might have heard about prorating. Prorating in the equitable. That is not there in dimension now. That's just telling you the small differences that you would understand, or maybe during the session you would let me know like these are the changes. Please focus on that one. I might miss few things, but I will go with the course content and will complete those things. And this is all about the act. The access profile is same. The approval small change. The business structure, the common setup is pretty much same, under which we create the hyperfiles, the known IP address and all these things. It's pretty same. UI wise, the how we interact with the things. Previously we interacting with the Genie's workspace navigators. If you remember those things like how we select a particular thing is like quick find Genies, the time for Genius or any other things. The quick find Genius, the sign off. A payroll sign off. Genius, the employee detail Genius. These are different Genius which we use. And if you talk about the workspace, they can be multiple things. Or widgets. If you remember the widgets, the time schedule widgets, specifically there's a quick find Genius and a quick find widgets also is there. These we leads with the widgets, navigators, the Genius. But now with the dimension we deal with types. There would be like in a floor, there would be a block that we call at the times. A small blocks. Similarly, in the screen there would be a blocks and each blocks will be responsible for working a certain kind of things. Those things will be known as styles and there are n number of times already been developed. It just comes with the package. And if you want, you can customize the time. Now, that's the comment. Now somebody paid policy. It's almost same. One more thing got added like in between, I think almost same like 9% of the same. One small thing got added in dimension. There was sign of restriction. If you remember, like if someone wants to do the sign off, they needs to have, and then it's to remove those particular mentioned thing under the sign of restriction. Like let's say there is an ask on excuse absence labs like someone is like schedule but he didn't come up to the office. That comes under as an excuse absence. Those things if you mentioned under the sign of restriction, if that particular thing is there in your time card, your manager won't be able to do the sign off. Similar way now in dimension, approval restriction got added. You can restrict the managers employed to do the approval of their time card if certain kind of exceptions are there. Rest, the most of the things are same. The payroll walk rule, commission rule, the overtimes, the rest of the constraints and all these things are same. And I'm not done nothing. Much change over there within a normal goal. If you have walked in Central, you will be able to understand this. This is all about the configuration part. Advanced scheduling and all forecasting. We won't be covering that because again, that thing is very vast. and we need some additional time for that. This is not included in this particular curriculum. I will give you some tips, like some of the overview of those things. Or if you need, I can share you some of the notes for the forecasting which I have. But you need to tell me. You need to remind me like you were supposed to share those things. And we'll go with the basic scheduling, the normal scheduling, like how the schedule is created, how pattern template is created, how shift is created, and the way the manager handles those things. You might know about these things, just to brush up with you. Like how we can assign our managers assigned by using the employee group, by using the employment term, or by one employee at a time. All these things will go through. Now, I think the another main difference is previously we were having OBDM works with device manager in order to do the configuration of devices. Now it's known as Universal Device Manager UDM in Dimension. A slight different way to do that. I'll just give you, if you remember those building blocks, there is a slight different way to create a match. I'll just give you overview of that because we don't have actual device to show you those things. Now that for that we need a device. Actual devices is required in order to tell you like how we will be. Maybe connection out to clear too, but that's not possible yet. That's part. I gave you the overview. Then we have a Dell Boomi. Boomi, which is used for the integration. Again, as I said, I will give you the tour of that. I hope you might have gone through the course curriculum. Oh, it might be shared to you. I'm not sure. But yet, this is what our course curriculum is. You can see my screen. We'll start with the basic. I'll give you a tool like what all the man employees to the manager's task is the payroll manager. Some companies do have their separate manager for the payroll work and separate for engaging with the employees. Then these are like basic overview of the application, how you use the help, what are the different exceptions, how you deal with the time card, and how you take care of the time card. If there is an exception, how we remove, like I assume most of the part you already know, but it's a long back. You need a brush up for that. We'll go with that. If you remember anything, just let me know that we can skip that part which you say. Then each are the people for the employees, profile different things over there. Where we assign those things, what I have done, functionality of that, what are the different licenses we have. One more thing over here, a license is known as entitlement. Sometimes it may happen like I work on both central and dimension. I might say sometime license, sometime in there. I'm familiar with the entitlement. Like I said, some stuff I've kind of been exposed to, but I haven't physically put my hands on it and got to work with it. I usually my current client using both. I started my career with Central 6.1, 6.3 and 7.1 and 8, 7.1 or 7K because the one from SET came into this project. 6 months, after 6 months it gets decommissioned. I'm not very much known about that. Then 8.1 and then Dimension. These are my flow of slick versions which I have worked on. Now they're using it. Find one along with Dimension. It may happen that we, like switching between the license and entitlement, sometimes get mismatched. We'll go through the basic scheduling, difference between basic scheduling, advanced scheduling, and how we use the shares, how we create those things, what are schedule groups, all the things we'll talk about. the schedule. Then, as I said, business structure, see a labor categories. We were having labor levels. Now we have labor categories, and these 4 things go with the labor categories. Same like in levels. We create the types on the labor level, different levels. Then we create what all entries require, what all details require. Then we group them that the manager can use only those. Same way we create over here. And this jobs and business structure is same as organization map almost. That's the thing, business structure. Then we go with the no pay policies. Most of the thing you might have heard of by the rounding, no exception, break, bonus and deduction, the combination rule, PCD and all these things. You are in. This is the new, that's what I saw, approval restriction. It is there in dimension. That's all the things I've seen. As per my knowledge, almost same pay policy, no difference. Then we'll talk about the ACK rules. I already told you about the prorating of the things, which is a difference. Less things are same for the ACK rules also. And then we go deep into the basic scheduling. The process, how we set up, how we create those things. And then we'll talk about the access. For you might have known about the FEPI, GDAP and Data Access Profile, the short format, the Function Access Profile, General Data Access Profile and Data Access Profile. These are already accessed for login. Profile is also. This is used to control the functionality. What all things you can use, what all access you can have, what all settings you can see. These all comes under the access profile, then under the display preference. The display source is different. We will be talking about the data view and the homepage settings. Like we know, I think I might not have explained you that in Central we were having the access of database. Over, we don't have. We cannot access database. In order to compensate that, they have given us a data. Yes. That is kind of like if you don't access the DB, you might need some data. What we do in SQL? We type in the what all columns we read, what all details of the columns we need. Then we put on the relation multiple joins, inner join, outer join, and then we give the where conditions, what all details we need. But in data view, it's very easy for us data view. It is you can give me 1 second. In data view, it's very easy for us. It's just that we need to select the columns and the system will give you the details that's set. Oh, in SQL previously, sorry. Previously, we need to remember what all relations are there in one table to another table. You might have heard about the foreign key, the primary key concept, and all these things in database. We need to remember how we can join the person table with the another shift segment table. How we can? We need to go with some timesheet item table and then we can. But over here in data view, there is a one click. If you click that checkbox, that means that relation will come up. If you don't check, if you don't do the checkbox of that particular block, that means you can select any columns. No relation is required. You can just select the columns and the system will give you the data. That's a pretty easy one. And then we'll talk about the times also over here. That's not mentioned. I think I forgot to mention it's in the starting. It's mentioned. We'll talk about the tiles and it I'll give you one or two how we create the custom tiles also, but it's not very useful, like 2.5 totally into dimension. But then, like, no one asked us to create a custom tile set because there are 70 tiles already being created for the system by the UK. Let's say if you say you want to see the overtime worked by your employee, yes, we have a tiles for that. If you want to see your time card, directly details of your time, we have a tiles for that. If you want to see what on balance you have for the actual, yes, we have a tiles for that. If you want to see which particular job your employee is doing, we have a tiles for that. We have a number of like almost 270 tiles, and mostly the manager can select what all tiles need. But there is an add-on layer from us, very strict, what all tiles they can see. And then from that particular option, they can select what all they want into their profile. Now then the common setup, as I said, it's almost same: batch processing, batch job list, hyperfind queries, delegate profile, and other blocks. The integration overview, as I said. Under that it's obvious, if you want to know the integration, you need to know how we do deal with the cross-reference table CRT. Then system information and system setting for review. And few more things are there, like SDM. I'll give you a tour of SDM in order to transfer the data from one platform to another platform. How we do that? And like as I said, Delgo like how we access the Delbo meaning integration. Yes, that's done. The UDM overview is also we will go through. And in between, if I need anything extra, I'll share with you. It's not like we will cover this one. And apart from that, whenever I need anything, I'll let you know. A global time of request. It's almost same, but I'll do that too. We'll go through that. When we go to their calls, and not we'll go through that. I'll mention over here that I'll remember. At the bottom, I will mention. Sounds good. But always felt forward, and we might miss that thing. Global time of request. No interaction with that is different. But under that, you remember that we need to create the transaction settings, software setting, the device profile, device communication settings. We need to update the firmware, if you want to load the logo, we need to those. Things are almost similar. But the way we interact, where we go to that place to create the application, it's different. But obviously it was straightforward in the setup. Now it's not straightforward in the setup. We have a different tab for that. Once you click on that device option, it will give you a new tab, and that tab will help you to understand those things like, or there would be what all devices you have. And then from there you go to the place where we do the configuration. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.